Why we fall for people who can't love us back.
Let me hit you with a question that might sting just a little. Why do we keep falling for people who couldn't love us back if their life depended on it? Seriously, it's like we're auditioning for a role in their movie, and the casting director has already decided, sorry, you're just an extra. And yet we keep showing up, rehearsing our lines, praying for a callback that's never coming.
If that made you smile nervously because you know exactly what I'm talking about, then stay tuned, because today we're going to decode why our hearts seem to have GPS systems that keep rerouting us straight to the unavailable, the uninterested, and the emotionally bankrupt. And trust me, by the end of this, you're going to see those patterns in a whole new light. But before we dive deep into the psychology and a little bit of humor, because yes, we're going to laugh at ourselves today, I need you to do one quick thing. Hit that subscribe button right now. This is Intuition Decoded, the place where we take all those messy, confusing feelings you thought you had to figure out alone and break them down into something you can actually understand and fix.
Let me ask you something. Be honest with yourself for just 1 second. Why is it that the people we fall hardest for are always the ones who couldn't love us back if you handed them a manual, a YouTube tutorial, and a step-by-step IKEA instruction guide?
Like seriously, you could serve them your whole heart on a silver platter, and they'd still be like, thanks, but do you have this in another color? And don't even lie to me. You know exactly what I'm talking about, because you, my friend, have probably spent way too much time daydreaming about someone who has the emotional range of a teaspoon, someone who treats commitment like it's an infectious disease, someone who makes you wonder if their phone broke when really they just didn't text you back. So let's cut the polite act. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do smart, capable, funny, good-looking people like us get hooked on people who couldn't love us back even if their Wi-Fi depended on it? Here's the brutal truth. It's not because you're broken, and it's not because you're cursed. It's because falling for unavailable people is like junk food for the soul. It's quick, it's addictive, and it leaves you feeling gross afterward. But in the moment, it feels like the greatest meal of your life.
Now let's break it down, because the psychology of this is wild, and also you're gonna laugh when you hear how predictable we all are.
First up, the thrill of the chase. You know how when you walk into a store and suddenly the thing you never cared about becomes 10 times more desirable just because there's a big fat sign that says limited stock? Yeah, that's what our brains do with unavailable people. Scarcity makes us stupid. If someone's not fully available, suddenly your brain is like, oh my god, rare collectible item, must have. And the chase is intoxicating. It's like playing emotional Mario Kart. Every time they give you a crumb of attention, it feels like hitting a turbo boost. You're flying, but then they pull away again, and you're back in 12th place, spinning out on a banana peel of self-doubt. Second reason, familiar chaos. This one's not funny, but it is relatable. If you grew up in an environment where love wasn't stable, where affection was unpredictable, where you had to work for scraps of approval, guess what feels familiar in adulthood? That same inconsistency, that same emotional hot one day, cold the next. It's not that you like it, it's that your nervous system recognizes it. Your brain goes, ah yes, this feels like home. Dysfunction, my old friend. And let's be real, our brains are dramatic. They confuse familiar with safe, which is how you end up chasing someone who treats you like an optional side quest instead of the main storyline.
Third, the ego Olympics. This one's a doozy. Falling for someone who can't love you back turns the whole thing into a competition with yourself. Somewhere deep inside you're thinking, if I can win this person over, if I can crack their code, if I can finally get them to love me, then I'm worthy.
And that right there is the trap, because now it's not even about them anymore. It's about proving something to yourself. You've turned your love life into a reality show where the prize is, drumroll please, basic human affection. And the worst part, even if you win, you still lose. And don't even get me started on hope. Oh sweet, delusional hope. Hope will take the tiniest sign of life and turn it into a full-blown love story. They liked your story on Instagram. Clearly, they're just shy about confessing their undying love. They asked how your day was. That wasn't politeness. That was soulmate energy. Meanwhile, reality is just sitting in the corner, waving at you like, hey, they're not actually invested, they're just bored. But hope doesn't care. Hope is like that one friend who always hypes you up for terrible decisions. And here's the wildest part, we confuse anxiety with attraction. When your stomach's in knots, when you're waiting by the phone, when your heart's racing because you don't know if they're into you, your brain tricks you into thinking that's passion. Nope, that's just your nervous system doing cardio. Real love doesn't feel like your body is preparing for war. Real love feels calm, steady, safe. But because calm and steady doesn't give us the adrenaline rush, we call it boring. So we keep chasing the chaos. Now listen, I know all of this sounds painfully accurate. You're probably sitting there thinking, wow, did they bug my phone? Are they reading my text history right now? Don't worry, I'm not spying on you. You're just not as unique in your suffering as you thought. We've all been there. We've all played emotional detective, trying to solve the mystery of why won't they love me back. But here's the wake-up call. That feeling you've been chasing, that roller coaster of uncertainty, of highs and lows, of obsession and heartbreak, That's not love. That's your nervous system looking for a remix of an old song you should have deleted from the playlist a long time ago. Love is not supposed to feel like a group project where you're doing all the work. Love is not supposed to leave you guessing. Love is not supposed to drain you until you're left with nothing but unanswered texts and a Spotify playlist of sad songs. Love, real love, feels like exhaling. It feels like coming home to yourself. It feels calm, safe, and steady. And when you finally stop chasing the people who can't love you back, you create space for the people who can. So here's the deal. Next time you catch yourself pining after someone who's emotionally unavailable, ask yourself, do I actually want them, or do I just want to win the impossible prize? And then remind yourself that you're not in love, you're just in debt, emotional debt, and baby, it's time to pay it off. Oh, and before you go, if you've ever caught yourself chasing someone who wouldn't even chase you across the street, then you need to hit that subscribe button right now. Because this channel, Intuition Decoded, is basically your group therapy session with extra jokes. Stick around because we're about to break every toxic pattern your love life has ever known. Alright, let's talk about something that we all secretly know but hate to admit. Sometimes falling for someone who can't love us back feels like our brains are running on expired software. Like you're sitting there with the newest iPhone, all the features, all the upgrades, and yet for some reason you're trying to download your love life on Windows 95. It doesn't make sense. You're funny, you're smart, you have Netflix passwords you're willing to share, you are a catch, and yet you're drooling over someone who gives you about as much affection as a houseplant. And not even a healthy houseplant. I'm talking one of those crusty little succulents that you water once every 3 months and still somehow feel guilty about when it starts dying. So why do we stay hooked on these people? Why do we hand over our hearts to someone who couldn't care less? Because, and brace yourself, your brain is addicted to the maybe. Think about it. That one text they send after days of silence. Oh, suddenly your brain throws a whole party. Balloons, confetti, marching bands. You get a little dopamine hit and your mind goes, see? They do care. No, they don't. They're just bored and you're conveniently available. But your brain doesn't care about logic. Your brain cares about the chemical high. And honestly, that's the messed up part of human psychology. We confuse uncertainty with excitement. If they're hot and cold, if they're in and out, if they're emotionally playing peekaboo with us, we mistake that rush for chemistry. But guess what? That's not chemistry. That's anxiety dressed up in a fancy outfit. That's your nervous system pulling the fire alarm and you calling it butterflies. Let's get real for a second. Actual healthy love, it feels boring at first. Yep, I said it. Boring. Because healthy love doesn't make your stomach tie itself into origami every time you see their name pop up on your phone. Healthy love doesn't make you obsessively overthink every emoji they use. Healthy love feels calm, predictable, steady. And our drama-addicted brains don't know what to do with that.
It's like switching from energy drinks to water. At first you're like, where's the buzz? Where's the thrill? Where's the chaos? But give it time and you realize, oh, this actually feels good. It's sustainable. It doesn't fry my nervous system.
But here's the kicker. If you're used to chaos, calm feels suspicious. You'll literally side-eye someone who treats you well, like, why are you being so nice? What's the catch? Meanwhile, the person ignoring your existence is the one you're making excuses for, like they're just busy, they're just not ready, they're just misunderstood. No friend, they're just not interested. Let's talk about excuses for a second, because wow, are we Olympic-level excuse makers when it comes to people who can't love us back. They didn't call you because they're swamped at work. They didn't text because they're bad with phones. They didn't commit because they're scared of getting hurt. And you know what? Maybe all of that is true. But here's the thing. If they wanted to, they would. Period. End of sentence. Roll the credits.
And deep down you know that. But admitting it would mean facing the truth that you've been investing in a stock that's not paying dividends. And nobody wants to admit their emotional portfolio is trash.
Now here's where it gets motivational, because I'm not just here to roast you. I'm here to remind you that you don't have to settle for scraps. You don't have to beg for love like it's some exclusive club you're trying to sneak into. Love isn't a VIP section. Love is supposed to be the whole damn party. And here's the wildest part. The second you stop chasing people who can't love you back, you start to see how much energy you were wasting. Energy that could have gone into your own life, your own growth, your own happiness. Because let's be real, half the time you're not even in love with them. You're in love with the idea of them. You're in love with the potential, the fantasy, the highlight reel version of who they could be if only they'd get their act together.
But you can't date someone's potential. You can only date the actual human standing in front of you. And if the human standing in front of you is emotionally unavailable, then congratulations, you've been dating a mirage. No wonder you're thirsty.
So here's your challenge. Next time your brain starts daydreaming about someone who's not showing up for you, I want you to catch yourself. Interrupt the fantasy. Ask, do I love them? Or do I love the drama? Because sometimes what we call love is just an addiction to emotional chaos.
And listen, I'm not judging you. I've been there. We've all been there. It's practically a rite of passage. But at some point, you've got to graduate. At some point, you've got to stop confusing heartbreak for passion. At some point, you've got to realize that chasing someone who won't love you back is like trying to download love on dial-up internet. Slow, painful, and ultimately not worth it.
Here's the bottom line. You are not unlovable. You are not too much. You are not hard to love. You've just been knocking on doors that were never going to open. And the second you stop, the second you turn around, you'll see there are plenty of doors wide open waiting for someone like you.
So don't waste another second begging for scraps. You deserve the feast. And if no one's offering it yet, then start cooking for yourself. Fill your own life with so much joy, so much passion, so much self-respect that you stop craving crumbs. Because once you raise your standards, the universe has no choice but to match them. And hey, before you click away, let's make a deal. If any part of you just went, ouch, that's me while listening to this, you owe it to yourself to subscribe to Intuition Decoded. This isn't just a channel. This is where we break toxic cycles, laugh at our own ridiculousness, and finally start choosing love that actually loves us back. Hit subscribe, stick around, and let's keep decoding this wild, messy, beautiful thing we call love together.
You know what the funniest part is about falling for people who can't love us back? It's that half the time we turn into unpaid detectives, like suddenly your CSI Heartbreak Edition. You're analyzing their text like it's a crime scene.
They sent you a K instead of OK? Boom. Conspiracy theory activated. They liked your Instagram story after 3 hours but didn't reply to your message. Must mean they're shy but secretly in love with you, right? Wrong. It means they had 2 free seconds while waiting for their Uber, and your brain is out here writing Shakespearean sonnets about it. And let's be honest, falling for someone emotionally unavailable is basically like signing up for an unpaid internship. You're working overtime, putting in all the effort, hoping that one day, maybe, just maybe, you'll get promoted to actual relationship. Spoiler alert, you won't, because they don't even have a company to promote you in. You're working at a building that doesn't exist. Now here's a little psychology hack. Why do we even chase these people? Because our brains love what's familiar. If you grew up around love that was inconsistent, maybe sometimes you got attention, sometimes you didn't, then your nervous system is like, ah yes, this feels like home. And that, my friend, is why healthy love feels so weird. Your body is used to drama. Calm feels foreign.
It's kind of like eating junk food your whole life. The first time someone offers you a salad, you're like, where's the flavor? Where's the grease? Where's the chemical aftertaste? But the truth is, your system just doesn't recognize nourishment yet.
And here's the kicker. When someone does treat you right, you don't trust it. You're like, why are they being so nice to me? They must have a secret agenda. They're probably planning to kidnap me. No, they're not. They're just healthy. And you don't know what to do with healthy. But let me tell you this, and I want you to hear it clearly. Your standards are not too high. You've just been giving discounts to people who didn't even deserve to shop in your store. And you know what happens when you give discounts all the time. People stop valuing your worth. They start expecting the sale price. They start thinking love is supposed to be cheap. No. You are not clearance. You are luxury. You are full price. No discounts. Final sale. Take it or leave it. And if someone can't afford the emotional price of admission, then guess what? The exit is right there. But here's where it gets funny. We don't actually like admitting that. Instead, we get addicted to chasing. We're like, if I just prove myself one more time, they'll see how amazing I am. And before you know it, you're juggling emotional fire, doing backflips, basically auditioning for the role of person they finally love. Except here's the truth. You don't have to audition for the role you were born to play.
Real love doesn't need convincing. Real love doesn't need chasing. Real love is like finding your Wi-Fi automatically connecting when you walk into the room. You didn't have to put in the password every 5 minutes. You didn't have to beg your phone to connect. It just does. And once you experience that, you'll wonder why you ever settled for dial-up love in the first place.
Now let's be brutally honest. You falling for someone who can't love you back? That's not about them. That's about you. That's about your fear, your patterns, your unwillingness to sit with your own loneliness. Because chasing someone unavailable keeps you busy, it keeps you distracted, it keeps you from facing the real question, do I actually love myself enough to stop begging for love outside of me?
Ouch. Yeah, I know. That one stings. But let's laugh about it too, because we've all been there. We've all sent the risky text at 2 a.m. We've all reread the good morning message 20 times, like it was a love letter. We've all acted like one breadcrumb of affection was a 7-course meal. But at some point, you've got to stop living off crumbs and demand the whole damn loaf.
And listen, when you finally decide to stop chasing people who can't love you back, you're not just saving your heart, you're saving your time, you're saving your energy, you're saving your dignity, because nothing is more embarrassing than realizing you are out here writing novels about someone who couldn't even be bothered to send a decent reply. So let me drop this on you. The reason you fall for people who can't love you back is because you don't realize your own power yet. The second you do, game over. No more begging, no more chasing, no more waiting for texts that never come. Because the truth is, the person who's actually gonna change your life isn't them, it's you. And hey, if this is hitting you in the gut right now, don't just sit there in your feelings. Channel it. Subscribe to Intuition Decoded.
Because this is where we call out the nonsense, laugh at our patterns, and actually grow from them. If you've been decoding someone else's mixed signals, it's time to start decoding yourself. That's where the real love story begins.
So, let's take a deep breath together and be real for a second. We've laughed about it, we've roasted ourselves a little, but here's the undeniable truth. Falling for people who can't love us back is exhausting. It's like running on a treadmill that never goes anywhere. You're sweating, you're tired, you're giving it everything you've got, and yet you're still in the exact same spot. No progress, no destination, just you, panting, wondering why you ever stepped on in the first place. But the thing is, you know why. Deep down, you know it's not about them. It's about what's going on inside you. That craving for validation, that little voice whispering, if I can just make this person love me, it means I'm finally enough.
But let me tell you the truth, that maybe no one has ever told you this clearly. You are enough already. You don't need someone else's attention to prove your worth. You don't need their approval like it's some golden ticket to happiness. You are the ticket. You've been holding it this whole time.
See, the people who can't love us back, they serve one sneaky purpose. They're like the universe's way of holding up a mirror. They force us to see where we've been settling, where we've been shrinking, and where we've been begging for crumbs instead of demanding the feast. It's harsh, it's uncomfortable, but it's also an invitation.
An invitation to finally walk away from the table that doesn't feed you. An invitation to stop sending novels to someone who can't even type a proper sentence back. An invitation to realize that real love, the kind that feels steady, kind, safe, exciting, passionate, and consistent, doesn't require you to twist yourself into knots to earn it.
And I know what you might be thinking, but if I stop chasing, what if I end up alone?
Well, let me flip that question for you. What if chasing is what's keeping you alone? What if all that energy you're pouring into the wrong people is the exact reason the right one hasn't had space to show up?
Imagine this, the moment you stop begging for attention, the moment you stop lowering your standards just to keep someone around, you free up your entire life. You suddenly have room for friendships that actually feel good, for passions that light you up, for quiet mornings where your phone doesn't control your self-worth, and most importantly, you create space for love that actually feels like love, not like emotional debt you can't pay off.
Because let's be honest, you're not in debt, you're not lacking, you're overflowing. You just haven't been giving yourself permission to see it.
So here's the final truth bomb I want to leave you with. The reason you fall for people who can't love you back is because some part of you believes you're not worthy of better. But guess what? That's a lie. That's a story you've been telling yourself. And today, that story ends.
From this point on, no more chasing, no more begging, no more decoding mixed signals like they're ancient scrolls. From this point on, it's about you choosing you filling your own cup, you remembering that love isn't supposed to be a performance, it's supposed to be a partnership.
So the next time you feel yourself spiraling over someone who won't text back, I want you to laugh. Seriously. Laugh at the absurdity of it. Laugh at how you almost convinced yourself that your entire worth was riding on a person who couldn't even remember your coffee order. Laugh and then remember you deserve better, and better starts with you choosing differently.
And listen, if this message hit home, if you felt seen, called out, maybe even dragged a little in a good way, then don't let this be the end of the conversation. Because here's the truth. This channel, Intuition Decoded, is where we break these patterns together. It's where we stop playing emotional hide and seek, and finally start living with clarity, confidence, and self-respect. So if you're tired of falling for people who can't love you back, if you're ready to laugh at your own patterns while also breaking free from them, if you're done confusing attention with affection and drama with passion, then hit that subscribe button right now. Subscribe to Intuition Decoded. Join this community of people who are done with crumbs and ready for the full feast. Because the next chapter of your love story, it doesn't start with them, it starts with you. And I promise you this, once you stop chasing the wrong people, the right ones won't just notice you, they'll never want to let you go. So go ahead, hit subscribe, and let's decode this thing called love together.